Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. I'm Vikova, you can call me V, and today I am playing even more Roadwarden and things have really started kicking off, so I'm very excited for today's stream. Hello to Rowan and to Siburus and to Talon and to Jabal. It is lovely to have you all here today. This is gonna be great. Yeah, with Twitch, following people on Twitch, I think it's quite a mixed bag. Sometimes you do it for support, sometimes you've watched them a few times, but you're not really into it right now, or, Also, people are always playing different games, and I think sometimes people follow you for one game that they're interested in, and then when you stop playing that, they don't really turn up anymore, but they might turn up again in future if you play something they like. That sort of thing. Anyway, each traveler sees with different eyes. Okay. We're going in. Anyway, thank you all for being here today. Jabal, I know you can't stay very long, but it's lovely that you're here for now at least. So, if we remember correctly, what's happened is we've cleared this pass and we're going to explore the village on the coast in the hopes of gaining allies and finding information that we can use to bring Thias down. Because I refuse to end this game and Thias just get away with the terrible things that she's done. So we're going to continue. Severa says each traveler sees with different eyes. It'd be awkward if they all had to share the same one. Talon says I usually use another traveler's eyes. That's a good point. Rowan says, a lot of it is that I don't check email often enough for email notifications to work, so if I don't have your schedule memorized, I'm not going to show up. Ah, that's true. I have the app on my phone and it notifies me, even though I usually try to watch on a PC. Anyway, you approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Good to see you. How are your journeys? I will always gossip a bit. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, a cart with wooden logs has collapsed, so there was quite a mess in the main square. We've got 12 hours left on the day. It's day 100. I'm glad there's no time limits in this version of the game. I've entered the village. So I think all I've got to do right now is the old hamlet. The druids want the hamlet to stay abandoned. I'm supposed to report that we removed the undead to Thias. Okay. So I guess we'll go and report to Thias now. Calmly, hello! Kyrevo! Lovely of you to drop by! Rowan says, is it eternal summer or eternal autumn? I think it was summer and now it's autumn. It's just never gonna be winter because it's not winter until I return. Jabal says that makes me feel a bit better about how much I screwed up my 40 days. I don't know how anyone can play this game with limited time. Like, surely it's designed so that if you play with a time limit, you get an unhappy ending. I love playing with all the extra time. Alright, let's go talk to Thias. I ask a guard to look for the mayor. The guard informs you that the mayor is currently busy, but she'll mention to her that you're waiting. You sit down on a bench and wait for a good few minutes. When Thias joins you, she smiles and apologizes for the wait. It's always good to see you, Strider. How can I help you? About the fishing hamlet. She encourages you with a smile. The road is clear. She leans forward. Her voice is close to a whisper and cold, like a gust of wind. I wish you'd come to me right away, instead of opening your ears to Elpis. Her red lips keep wearing her usual smile, but the green eyes match the fury of her tone. She's getting meddlesome. Watch out for what she tries to sell you. Before you get a chance to answer, she straightens up. Don't let me wait any longer. Hit me with the good news, Strider. After you mention the undead, she stops herself from shedding tears of laughter. A skeleton with no legs! That must be a good sign. Still chuckling, her hand reaches to her belt, from which she unpins a leather pouch. You've done well. Our work isn't finished yet, but we're close, so close. She picks 5 dragon bones and pushes them toward you, holding each one with a separate finger. Time for me to search the hamlet. What is this nightmarish trick? You read my soul, Strider. Pay close attention to what you'll find. She rubs her pale hands, then starts to count down on her pale fingers. How many cabins are still standing? Are there any lairs nearby? Any signs of vagabonds, soul-eating mold, broken walls? The more you learn, the better. I'll see you soon. Eric shows up with a plate of red radishes, salted, roasted, and cut into slices. He invites you both to help yourselves, but before he leaves, Thias grabs his hand and looks into his eyes. They smile at each other without a word. After a few heartbeats, she turns back toward you. I don't really know your plans, Strider. Are you planning to stay in the north, maybe find a family? Ooh, we have some kind of character options here. Siberia says, I think there may have been soul-eating mold in our old flat. Oh, no. Ooh. I already have a family, and they need me back home. I'm not looking for a new place. I want to travel. I'll start a new life in Hovlaven. Yes, actually, I think I'll look for a new home here. Maybe. I smile politely. I look at her sternly. You don't need to know. I think I'm going to try and live... I'm not want to find a family. I do want a home in the north, though. I think I'll look for a new home. The innkeep nods politely. The peninsula could use a regular warden. Before he finishes his thoughts, his wife chips in. Too bad we can't really squeeze a new house into our village. But I'm sure you'll find plenty of empty huts in the north. He gives her a surprised glance, but then nods toward you and heads back to the inn. Thias gives you a polite smile. Yep. That's about what I would expect from Thias. She wants me to risk my life for her constantly, but she actually hates me. Alright, thank you for your time. How much time do we have left? 11 hours? I think we can continue to explore. Can I tell Elpis? No, I can't tell Elpis. Alright, about how Thias was being... We're gonna travel. I guess I'll save. We'll travel. We're heading out toward the old hamlet. It's probably going to be dangerous. You don't have to wait long for the harpies to reach you. Their fluttering bat-like wings let them hang in a spot, though loudly. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features and talons that make you think of a parrot. Their fur is in shades of browns and greys. I guess I have to fight them. I'm ready to face them. You keep riding forward and unpack every piece of equipment that could be of use here. It'd be better to weaken the beasts before you clash with them. The dragon horn may scare them away. I use my crossbow. I throw a fistful of blinding powder at one of them. I take a swing with my axe and let the beasts get closer. I have so much equipment! Let's toot! I completely agree, Jubal! Jubal's toot! The dragon horn. Quirrell agrees with toot. You press the horn to your lips, and after the first failed attempt, you fill the hills with the terrifying shout of a monster. The surprised harpies spread, giving you enough time to cross the next few dozen feet, and are forced to speed to catch up with you, risking your hits will reach them. I'll crossbow them. I have so many crossbow bolts. Your quarrel hits a harpy's side, making it screech. I'm sorry, harpy, stop trying to kill me. It stays in the air, flapping its wings desperately, but gets lower and lower, unaware of the stream of blood leaving its shell. I'll throw some blinding powder. You speed up, making a beast lower its guard as it tries to reach you with its claws, and surprise it by throwing the powder in its eyes. It screams in panic, hitting the ground behind you and squirming in pain. I take a swing with my axe and let the beast get closer. I don't have a shield? Aw, heck. Quirrell says, oh, you got a crossbow. I forgot you'd done that off stream. I did, and I brought up all the quarrels I could find, too. You find comfort in the rhythm dictated by your palfrey, but you'll struggle to protect both of you, not to mention trying to push away the onslaught. You have to use your axe to scare away anything from reaching Shadowfax's eyes. It's all dice rolls. I'm strong enough to stay on the offense. I'll cover my head with my armored arms. Or I just don't do anything. I'll cover my head. I'm not going to stay on the offense. I'm not very strong. A beast grabs your arm, but isn't strong enough to hurt you before you cut through one of their necks. Oof. The others let you be, exchanging sad glances as they land next to their wounded allies. After not even half an hour, you hear the sound of the sea. They're sad! Why did you have to attack me? We could have lived peacefully. Quarrel says, I'm not sure how I feel about being shot at harpies. Quarrels! Quarrels! We're not firing any robotic ferrets. Don't worry, don't worry. Jabal says, to be fair, B has 15 left, so that was Quarrel 16 that just got fired. You're up in 6. My gosh. The coast is a mixture of green and grey, with sands already covered by the water. The waves hit the land fiercely, but can't put an end to the screeching of seagulls. The signs of human presence are fading away. The grasses overgrow the path, the palisade and buildings are already collapsing. The lonely tree, still bearing signs of human pruning, is unkempt and wild. You see no smoke or lights. I keep Shadowfax close. There may be something hidden behind a rock. In the north you find tall rocks sticking out of the land like fingers of a buried troll. The southern brook hides even more grasses and shrubs, which end with yet another rock face. There are no obvious obstacles that would block you from entering the village, but there's also enough space to look around the wall. Let's see. I should prepare my crossbow, and I will do that. You take off the linen sack that protects your weapon and prepare it for a shot, then raise it to your eye, getting used to aiming. As you lower it, you feel confident. If anything shows up, you'll have the first shot. I go to a different spot. I would like to walk along the palisade near the southern building, I think. You tell Shadowfax to drink from the brook and enter the narrow path. The building, which has a door leading outside of the palisade, is closed and its roof has collapsed. On the ground you find a wooden bowl, a mug, a spoon and a fishing rod. All of them are rotten, broken or swollen by rains and hoarfrosts. Being by the bank of the brook, you look south, but find no human beings. I return to my horse. I would like to go north to the shore, I think. Jabal says, I enjoyed exploring this place. It's got a lot of peacefulness to it right now, which I'm liking. The farther north you go, the more the grass gets replaced by sand. You walk by dozens of rocks, many of which are much larger than you, or even 2 or 3 people standing on top of each other. The land reaching from this point to the distant steep cliff is desolate. One could bring here a treasure, bury it under any of those silent sentinels, and then never find it again. I return to the gate, and I cross the brook. The area is surrounded by cliffs like an antechamber in a palace. The meadow here is modest, but still lengthy enough for Shadowfax to enjoy it. You count the tree stumps and boughs, then realize that this lea is but a dead shell of a lush copse, a clearing left behind by the settlers. A single shrub is still alive, too weak to withstand the sun and winds all by itself. You think of the roots spreading beneath your boots, now dead and rotting. Sibiris' nice little place so far. This is pleasant. I go to the shore in the west. Maybe we could live here. I found an ocean necklace. The stones here are almost as huge as the building, both on land and in the water. You can only guess how much space they occupy beneath the surface. You inspect the dead tree growing by the brook and find an old necklace among its roots. It's made from a leather strip, now covered in mould, a long cream-coloured seashell, and a few thin, round flakes, most likely made of a sea monster's tooth. You try to wash it, but to no avail. I shove it into a sack. Let's have a look at this necklace. An ocean necklace. A leather strip with a couple of silverfish scales and a single long seashell. We should show this to the forest elder and to Eudosha. This is interesting. I'm going to save again. This is going well. Jabal says, I don't think one normally pronounces the E in cops. Or do I say it wrong? I always say cops. But then Joe told me it was copsy and I haven't been able to check. So it's probably cops. Oh well. As I said it, I was like, I should have said it my way. I shouldn't have listened to Joe, and then I did get called, so. I enter the hamlet. 9 says, Tarala says, I think it shares a root with coppice, so I don't think the trailing E would be pronounced. Ooh! Hang on. I'm curious. Everyone, we're just gonna have a little brief pause. Sure, sounds like cops.
Cops.
Yep. Let's do etymology, because now I'm curious if it shares a root with coppice. Coppice to cops. Late 16th century. Shortened from coppice. Oh, that is interesting. Ooh. We've learned something today. Thank you. Well, I definitely have. I enter the hamlet. The roaring ocean overwhelms the whimper of soggy, broken beams. The huts would take a lot of work, but are not beyond restoration, especially the one in the centre, whose simple roof has managed to protect its walls. By its open entrance, you spot a bucket of water, as well as boot prints. Sam, hello! Rowan says, I always thought it was with a long O myself, like copes? Ah. Sabira says, as pretty as the place is, don't trust it. All cops are bastards. That was genius. I want to live here. This is where I'm going to live at the end of Roadwarden. Maybe Eudosha can come live here with me. The roaring ocean overwhelms the whimper of soggy, broken beams. Oh, I've already read this. Sorry. Anyone here? I don't want to hurt you? Or come out before I find you first? So someone's living here. We're going to say, anyone here? I don't want to hurt you. The strong voice of a young woman reaches you from the building in front of you. If so, maybe put down that crossbow, aye? Fine, I put it on the ground. Let me see you. As long as you don't give me a reason to shoot, you're safe. Oh my gosh, I put it down! After a few breaths, the tall and slim woman steps onto the threshold. Her strong longbow is resting against her hip, and you spot the arrow quill sticking out from the quiver. She's standing sideways to you, ready to take a shooting stance. This, combined with her raised chin, gives her a proud, confident look. If she's a traveller, it's unusual that she carries no major scars, bruises, or wounds. Oh, really? She's tanned, with flaxen curly hair that is too short to reach her shoulders. It's disorderly and of uneven length, most likely cut with a dagger. Her upper lip is unusually large. A thief, most likely? A runaway slave? Maybe she's a big game huntress? Are there slaves? Oh no. Maybe she's a runaway slave? Story Dragon, hello! Quirrell says none of those options really track with the no scars thing. I completely agree. Sam says, joke, don't you know Warden? Crossbows don't kill people. People kill people. Oh no! Ooh! Her worn baggy tunic has no sleeves and her legs are uncovered, showing how impeccably clean her skin is. She observes you keenly, but her sparkling, curious hazel eyes carry no anger. Our approach is approach time, everyone! Let's all get ready and decide what we want to do. Friendly, I'm sorry to disturb your peace. Can we talk? I love it. Surprising no one! I love it. Playful, I hope you're not looking for target practice. Nah. Vera says, let's all get ready to choose friendly again. It's not my fault that it's the only truly good approach. Distanced. I didn't expect to find someone in these ruins. Look, sometimes I choose vulnerable. Intimidating. Keep that bow away. I'm not in the mood for bloodshed. Unlikely. Yeah, Rowan says sometimes we're vulnerable. Exactly. Vulnerable. I raise my hands. I yield. She's not shooting at me. That's a little too much. I'm easily leaning towards friendly, but what does everyone else think? I don't think playful is bad in this situation, but she doesn't seem like she's, like, in a playful mood. Sam says friendly is the only viable option, 2023. Story says friendly or distance. I think, yeah, distance wasn't bad this time. I didn't expect to find someone. Rowan says, I think vulnerable is more playful than playful this time. I mean, if it was under playful, then that would be true, but I think it might be genuine. Hello, Devon Prater, welcome. This is Roadwarden. It is an illustrated text adventure. We're quite far into it right now. It's sort of a grim, dark RPG world, but we've just been trying to make friends with everyone and leave everything in a good way. And anyway, welcome. Okay, I'm going friendly. I'm sorry to disturb your peace. Can we talk? She bites her lower lip and glances at Shadowfax. About what? You think I came here to find new neighbours? The people of Hallersdale want me to check on this place. It belongs to them. I'm not saying that. I'm Strider, the Roadwarden. I'm trying to find Asterium, the previous Roadwarden. Who are you? Is this your necklace? Is it safe to rest here during the night? It's time for me to leave. Let's start with, I'm Strider, the Roadwarden. She clicks her tongue and looks away, observing the sand dancing in the wind. So, there's a new one already. Pause. But there's no much for you to find here. There are no ever ghosts here. Who are you? Just a friendly recluse. She draws the bowstring gently. They're no very patient one. Better tell me what brought you here. I'm trying to find Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. She huffs loudly, then spreads out her arms as if to show there's no one here. I need to speak with him myself. Tell him that if you ever find him. You know Asterion? Why can't I ask more questions about that? Quirrell says her accent is more reminiscent of white marshes than the Howler's Dell. That's interesting. That is interesting. Okay. Devon says, oh, it's a game. Okay, that's cool. Yes, it's a game today. Let's see. Is this your necklace? I think that's fair to ask. She doesn't reach for it and instead lowers her head to your open palm. Nay, 'tis ugly. You found it here? Must be old, from before my time. Is it safe to rest here during the night? She points her bow at the broken palisade. I do not know. You tell me. I'm near sharing my shelter with you. Your horse wouldn't have fit through the door anyway. Better turn back to Howlers. I haven't told you I'm from Howlers, but okay. The people of Hallersdale want me to check on this place. Nay, let's need troll shit one another. What does Thias want? Coming from her mouth, the mayor's name is like a toothache. An ally against Thias! Ooh! Story says it's a very interesting figure. She is interesting, yes. This is exciting. Okay. Why do you think it's her? Everyone else has given up on this place. Only she still brings it up. If your horse is here, someone helped you with the rocks, and no farmer would come here without an order. She wanted me to take a look, see if there are any monsters here. Blood on all of it. She looks at the gate, lets out a huff, then straightens up and meets your eyes. She must near know what you've seen. She points at you with the tip of her bow. Do nee tell her I'm here, or better yet, do nee tell her this place is still standing. You're her daughter, the one slaughtered by goblins. Her daughter wasn't even killed. What the hell, Thias? Thias is such an awful woman. Aye, that's my story, and I need it to stay this way. Asterion helped me. Ma'am! Tears well up in her eyes, and her brown cheeks blush. Asterion helped her. Her voice fills up with spite. Thias takes whatever fits in her talons. She was pushing me into marriage out of spite to punish me, but I will ne'er be chained, ne'er by her, ne'er by others. I'm a master of the bow, the hunt, and spells of mine. I'll come back as my own soul, as Egidia the archeress, nay a mayor's daughter, and she'll have nay power over me. Why do you want the villagers to stay away? This is... oh, wow. Quirrell says I was way off with the accent. It's alright, it's alright. I think there's a lot of ne going on everywhere. She puts a hand on the tip of her bow and starts to stroke it with her fingers. I hope Howlers will prosper, I do. But they already have more than they can eat. I'll meet with the forest speakers after the first thaw and show them I can handle this place. I'll be its guardian, live here with my friends, and nay the mayor's eye. She steps closer to you. The corners of her eyes are turning red. I need it. More than they need some fish. Honestly, if you want to live here as a guardian for the forest speakers, I am all about it. This part, Egidia's awesome. Jabal says, I can now say it because we revealed who she is, but I love Egidia. She's one of the characters I really, really wish there was more of. I can't believe... this is awesome. You don't have the right to hinder the well-being of the entire village. The village is fine! What do you have against Thias? She pulls the string of her bow. I'm ne'er barred, words escape me, and my pain shall die with me. But Elpis, a forest speaker, also knows the real Maya. She wants others to see her strong at all costs. She swings the bow like a staff right above the ground, as if to hit invisible legs. She punishes those who stand against her. And I did the worst crime of them all. She makes a dramatic pause. I doubted her. The druids don't control the village, Thias does, that's true. She controls what my neighbours let her control, and only because she's good at hiding from them what they do not want to see. But let her fail, she smiles. Let the others hear that their good old fishing spot has turned into ruins. Once I'm back, this moment of weakness may make just the difference. That sounds great. Honestly, I want to work with Egidia. I want to work with Egidia. She seems great. She's going to help me take down Thias. Finally! You assume a lot. You can't expect all your plans to succeed. I can, and I do. I know these folk, Traveller. You sound like the mayor right now. Only she is allowed to take risks. Only she can make mistakes. Only she can be brave. Well, she straightens up, grasping her bow firmly. I carry a brave soul. I'm ready to be wrong and to face consequences, if that's the only path to freedom. I don't want to ask either of these things. What's in it for me? Sure. She chews on her lower lip and straightens up. A favor for a favor. She looks into your eyes. Keep my secret, and one day I'll help you back. In the wilderness, my talents are of great value. She raises her bow slightly. One that's been able to stay alive all by herself for half a year. She'll help me at the island. I'm ready to give you my answer. Even more people for the island. She observes you in silence, drawing short lines in the sand with her foot. Thias deserves to know the truth? No. I'll cover for you. I trust you'll put the time you have to good use. I'll cover for you, but only until spring. You can't take this place away from Howler's Dell. I don't care about that. Lie, you have nothing to worry about. I got your back. Okay, yeah, I'll cover for you. I trust you'll put the time you have to good use. She closes her eyes, takes a few deep breaths, and starts to walk around you with light steps that turn into skipping. There are tears in her eyes. Thank you, I'd hug you, but oh well. She waves her hand in front of her, drawing your attention to the rags that she's wearing. Egidia asks you to give her a few minutes, and you return to Shadowfax. When she returns, her hair is combed, and she's wearing a brown linen tunic slightly darker than her skin, with red trim on its neck and sleeves, long enough to reach her knees. It's as good as new, a relic of Thias's luxuries. Tell me about Asterion. She touches her lips with the tip of her bow. Well, I do know where he is. I spent little time with him, but he's a stranger with a pure heart, like it's made of iron. She glances at you. He doesn't talk much. Maybe a warden thing, aye? Nay, I will me stay around, he said. She tries awkwardly to imitate a male voice. I ride east next. East, I ask? To Howler's? Farther, he said. To the Enchantress, maybe? Even farther than that. His own words. She looks at you triumphantly. Wait, what? Farther east? That's not where he went. What? Oh, he means the tribe of the Green Mountain, I'm sure. That's where they live. Away from any road. I'm not even sure how to find them. Maybe one of the forest speakers could guide you. How did you manage to survive so long all by yourself? This is great. I'm loving this. Oh, goodbye, Jubal. Thank you so much for being here. Sibira says this is what we needed, an ally, maybe a new mayor. Absolutely. Sibira says maybe a warden thing. Stride is probably the most talkative person on the whole peninsula. I talk to people constantly. 'Twas nae so hard, but it will change now with the road cleared for larger beasts. She bites her lower lip. I eat birds, some green leaves from the top of the cliff, to keep my hair strong. She touches it with an open palm. And I learn how to catch small fish from the stream. The nights are near much better in the woods, I admit. If not for my spell, the monsters would have gotten through many times. The door is near enough. My smell is around, you see. They know I'm but food. You're a spellcaster, you ask, and she playfully touches her canine with the tip of her tongue. I've many talents. Pray to nae learn about them all. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? Nay, we do nae hunt for beasts beyond the nearest hills and ponds. If I were to enter the deep roads, I'd have some long preparations to do. Good gambeson, sharp blade, healthy shell, food in my belly and in a sack. She glances at Shadowfax and can't stop her chuckle. And I'd take someone with me, or a group of someones, but you already have all the help you need, I see. I think Asterion has sailed to High Island. Do you know anything about it? She opens her mouth, but needs a few breaths to speak. He left like that? Without a word? To that death trap? She raises her bow and points in the northwest. You can see the island from here. 'Tis nae easy to get there, even on a boat. When you mention you'd appreciate any tip that could help you survive there, she moves her lips left and right, humming to herself. I haven't seen it myself, but I heard that when the winters are at their darkest, the water from here to there is all frozen, and even a big beast can get there on their paws. Seeing your puzzled look, she explains. The creatures there are not too different from the ones we have here. The more you learn about them, the more prepared you'll be. Before you change the subject, she lets out a huff. I do hope you'll bring him back. I could use your help on the island. Her curiosity grows as you describe your plan. And you think he may still be alive, truly? After your vague nod, she straightens up, raising her bow in a salute. You helped me already, so 'tis only fair for me to join you. And if you've nae boat yet, you can use mine. She has a boat! Also, we've got another person to help. She's probably the nicest, most helpful person immediately that we've ever met on this peninsula. And she's Thias's daughter who, faked her death to escape Thias. This woman is very cool. How do you feel about what happened to Steep House? How should I feel? I was this tall. She raises her open hand, palm down to her chest. I just heard 'tis difficult, and that I should nae ask about it. She then bites her lower lip. I've never been thinking about it for years, but maybe I should, knowing it was Thias who told me this. I know what happened to Steep House. Would you like to learn the truth? Gosh, this is heavy, but I need her to help me take down Thias. Her hands squeeze her bow, her eyes are keen. After her gentle nod, you tell her what you've learned. Tears well up in her eyes even before you finish, but she stares at you intensely, trying to catch a hint of a lie, something to grab on before she puts her trust in your tale. In the end, she scratches the sand with her foot, lowering her head. Then she covers her eyes. Shame on them. Shame on my Thias, and on me, for I asked no questions. Before you respond, she enters her hut for a minute, then returns with fresh water dripping from her face. While her eyes are red, she holds her bow with determination. "'Tis better to know the truth. I planned to return home one year, but now I do not know. If I do, I will be heard." Okay. It's time for me to leave. "Safe travels," she says with a smile and pats your palfrey's neck. You leave the hamlet. I'd like to look at the harbour before we go. Let me just save. Egidia is awesome. You walk by the small garden that carries a few bean plants and not many weeds. You leave Shadowfax behind and take a walk on the wooden logs of the massive bridge. They're in much better shape than the other structures here, and the boat is almost new, still shining proudly from varnish. You look back at the nearby building. While restoring all of the structures to their former functionality will be rough, there's a lot to work with. Thias would be pleased, but she'll never know! Jabal says make sure you check out Steep House thoroughly again before you try and persuade Elpis to take down Thias, and good luck. Will do. I go somewhere else. Alright. We're heading back. How many hours? 2 hours? 7 hours. Let's go have a look at Steep House now then. I already have the boat. I can now high island whenever I want. Let's go look at Steep House. And I'd like to speak to the forest speaker tonight. The village remains dead. I enter the goblin's lair. You return to the northwest corner of the village. The goblins may have been killed or chased off, but their smell is still around, so Shadowfax is just as alert as it was the last time you were here. You tether it in the animal pen, the one with a single boulder, allowing it to graze on the struggling dry grass. Just in case, you take your blade with you, but also the other pieces of equipment. You don't expect the creatures to move back, but who knows when the next scavenger will move in to feed on the remains of the pack. You stand in front of the entrance. The dried out blood now covers the older layers of dirt and rubbish. I plug my nose with some scraps of fabric. It helps, but not as much as you'd like. When you find yourself surrounded by the chopped off shell parts, trash, bodily fluids, and feces, oh gosh, your imagination fills in the blanks of the vague sensations. Not looking directly at the place of carnage helps, so you raise your eyes and move forward. The building has 2 floors, with the upper one used to store straw and supplies. Since the roof's collapse, half of this place is covered with broken furniture, beams, bricks, planks, already overgrown by moss and fungi. The greenish pile makes you think of a side of a hill, though it's riddled with so many gaps, and the light and rain can squeeze in between the debris. You try to avoid the puddles. Quirrell says, that's interesting. The ground was cursed and everything was dead, but I just spotted a living tree on the picture on the left. Did you do anything with that? I did go and visit it, but I don't think anything came of it. Let's see what I can find. The lair is as crude as a rat's nest, yet escapes your words and senses. The sleeping spots are made of straw, scraps of clothes, feathers, and moss, but are so old and clumped together that you doubt they are any softer than the rotting planks beneath them. The corners are filled with feces, and you don't think it would make any difference for the creatures to relieve themselves in the middle of the room. You see broken furniture and all sorts of rubbish with no specific shape, nor a purpose you can identify, and a stack of bones and sharpened sticks taller than you are. It's nothing like the humble shelters that the families of apes build among the tree crowns. It's tamed chaos, an attempt at maintaining order in a place that ceased to be a human structure, yet is still not a part of the wilderness. Just a few days ago, dozens of beasts were living here, but you can't imagine how anything could survive in such conditions. The walls are covered with black and green molds. The floor is very much alive with countless worms, insects, small lizards and rodents running among the dirt and the fresh shells of furry goblins. The blood, guts and flesh are covering way more spots than you hoped for. Something is happening in your stomach. Ugh. Time to look for anything of value. I'm ready to spend even more than an hour in this place. Let's do it. Oof. The painful search takes you half an hour. You move the carcasses around, look into the stacks of garbage, examine the sleeping spots. By accident, you make one of the piles of furniture collapse, covering the floor with yet another layer of chaos. With every minute, you get more upset about the state of your boots and gloves, knowing that some tiresome cleaning is ahead of you. Your disappointment grows. There are many stories of goblins storing unusual treasures in their lairs, but you find not even a single dragon. Could the hunters have been so sharp-eyed in their search that they've left nothing behind? Or were the goblins simply never interested in gathering things for which they found no purpose? You move a larger plank, an X-shelf leaning against one of the mouldy walls, and you reveal something curious. A group of signs, made with red paint. I look at the marks closely. The paint is old, placed with noteworthy artistry. It portrays a large tree without leaves, just a bunch of branches. You saw a similar plant in the main square of Howler's Dell. Its roots grow out of a human skull, penetrating its eye sockets in the open mouth, and a couple of red drops were allowed to run down the wall. Above the tree, you see a single large word. Traitors. I go outside. I need fresh air and some water from the river. All I can do now is wash myself in the river. So I wash myself. The kelp forest reaches to the water surface, surrounded by little creatures and the smell of river plants. You crouch by the bank and draw handfuls of water. I put on my clothes. There's nothing else I can do here. What I want to do is go speak to the forest speaker. Sabira says, well, that's chilling. Yep. Yeah. There's nothing light about Steep House. 2 ibexes, a male and a female, are lying on the rocky mountainside. A gentle wind is brushing their fur. The old man is sitting on a wooden stool between the garden beds, weeding. The torn plants are resting in a small basket. What do you need, traveller? Well, this is not what I was hoping for. I guess I will go sleep in Howler's Dell. You ride through the open gate and swiftly dismount. A couple of older people are gossiping with excitement while they grind grains with millstones. A young woman is chasing after a loose chicken, embarrassed by the giggling of bystanders. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep. Do I have the money? Yes. I go to the main square. Go to Eric's. I would like to sleep. And honestly, I just get better in every way sleeping here. For 2, yeah, that's going to keep everything maintained. You spend the night in peace in a clean bed with a tightly shut window, and a warm blanket. In the morning, you find a stool placed by your bed, covered with an eggplant soup, a bowl of pears, and some crumbly biscuits. I would hate to find food in my room. Someone came in. Ugh. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy who's covered in mud and speaks unusually loud and enthusiastically mentions that Shadowfax has already been brushed and watered. You nod, but he runs outside without noticing. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Thias is nowhere to be seen. I'm going to go and find Elpis. Let's save, little save, and then big save. Big save? Big save. Quirrell says it seemed earlier like maybe Elpis was having regrets about the way things are being run here, despite her part in it. I wonder if we might be able to bring her around with something Egidia said. I agree. Sam says big save, like big stretch. I go to Elpis. The building site hasn't changed much since the last day of your visit. She's speaking to a group of children who are sitting on the ground in blankets. But after she notices that you've distracted them, she tells them to return to their homes. I lower my voice. I did save. I met Egidia. She says you don't think much of Thias. When she responds to your brief tale, you can't tell if her whisper is filled with reprimand or appreciation. It doesn't fit me to put one soul above another. 'Tis true that the mayor pushes the village into a time of struggle, but ne'er because of bad will. That's what she's been taught, and what she saves from her own past. Aye, she pursues power, and aye, there's weakness in it. I do think she needs to change for everyone's sake. But each one of us struggles to bloom, not just her. So you're not going to help me? Her blue eyes resemble light flower petals. Ugh! I could still use help on my journey for Asterion? Nothing. Well, I need to go lie to Thias, I think. Srillik, hello! Srillik says, wouldn't it be wild to have to roll a die and see if you could save? Oh no, I would hate that. Calmly says, little save, big save, cardboard box. Sam says, B.O.B. making his souls like around this idea. I'm gonna go speak to Thias. I ask a guard to look for the mayor. Here she is. It's always good to see you, Strider. How can I help you? About the fishing hamlet. She encourages you with a smile. I've been to the hamlet. As she puts on a wide, expectant smile, you notice a few more wrinkles around her eyes. According to your tale, lie, the hamlet is uninhabitable even if empty. Yes. You portray the demolished rotten cabins, harpy nests, and the collapsed ground. Thias' eyes lose their spark, but she keeps her composure, and even asks for more details. After you finish, she leans forward and rests her cheek on her hand. You don't even notice where the pouch in her hand came from. Well, at least the harpies left your eyes alone. Did they bother you? She slowly counts down 3 dragon bones, placing them on the table loudly. I pack my reward. Nah, I'm fine. Good to see someone around here who doesn't need my help, she says with little joy, and observes her pale fingers. After a few breaths, she asks you to give her a minute. After she returns from the inn, her lips are covered with a new layer of rouge, darker than usual. One of her sons carries a large bag made of leather, and after you peek inside, you find a sheet of parchment rolled onto 2 wooden handles. The scroll is new, heavy, tied with a tight linen cord, sealed with wax. You've proven yourself trustworthy, both to me and to my neighbours, says the mayor. Take this letter to the masters of the guild. May the negotiations begin. With a smile, she reaches out her hand. Without a word, I shake it as briefly as I can without upsetting her tribe. Yep. Fantastic, she says with a radiant smile. Her hand is as soft as that of a wealthy merchant. Do you need anything else? Alright, thanks for your time. Goodbye forever. She also stands up. Once you have a moment, talk with Akakios. He has something for you. A small token of our appreciation. And what am I appreciated for, if I may ask? Her face brightens up and she bows to you, holding her cape. Her voice is playful. For being a kind part of our recent days, Strider. It's just a sign of... what would you like to call it? She straightens up and looks into your eyes. Alliance, maybe? No matter what you call it, I'm just doing my job. I don't want to be nice to you. Quarrel says, are there any new options on the decide what to do thing now? I think there will be. Because we completed that quest. She bursts into a laughter and sends you off with a wave of her hand, then heads back to the inn. I turn away. Let me just check if Elpis has any new things. Okay, good. I whisper, making sure that none of the workers can hear me. Sorry for the snorting, I'm getting stuffy. Talon says something just feels wrong about the whole interaction. Well, Thias is a terrible person. She's a liar and a cheat and a murderer. She's, in fact, a genocider. She's an awful person. And she doesn't actually care about me, but she does care about manipulating me. I whisper, making sure that none of the workers can hear me. The hamlet will stay as it is. She smiles gently, then steps back and bows deeply. Seeing this, the nearby druids also lower their heads. The others may not know it yet, but you've chosen their safety over their greed. Your kind heart will be remembered. Thank you. Could you help me with Asterion? Once you tell her about the island, she puts her left index finger on her lips, thinking. You assisted us in keeping our village safe from greed. You've protected us from the plague, even though you had to sacrifice the sacred fruit. We do not care for this man, but we see you as our ally and wish you well. Come and see me before you leave. My soul will heal your wounds and strengthen your shell. Okay. I'll come to you later on when I'll truly need your powers, I guess. I never need healing, but... Oh. Quirrell says, I think it says very good things about V's voice work, that it's still recognizably the same cheery voice they gave her on their first meeting, just more sinister now, I guess. Calmly says, you're a very skilled voice actor. Hello, thank you. Primordial says, hello there. Hello! I think we're doing it. I think this is all happening. Save. I need to decide what to do with what I've learned about Steep House. It's the time! I ought to do my best to weaken the mayor's position. The druids may help me with that. Alright, everyone get ready to vote. I might just do what I want, but the druids may help me with that. I could offer Thias an alliance in exchange for my silence. Never. I already did my part. I'm going to report everything to the city officials and let them decide if they should get involved. No, Hovlavin's worthless. Nothing good would come out of opening old wounds. It's better to let Steep House fade into the past. No. So I think there's only really one option here, which is the druids may help us weaken the mayor. Is everyone on board with that? Siberius says the top option is the only one I'd pick. Yep. I mean, we've got to bring her down. She's done horrendous things. Imagine if Egidia becomes mayor. Calmly says, we trust you. Aww. I'm gonna click it. I'm clicking it. You think of your previous conversations with Elpis. While she is surely respected in the village and seems to have unusual talents, so far her attitude toward the mayor has been rather timid. Unless you can present a good case to make her turn against Thias, you doubt she's going to keep your conversation a secret. Let's hope she'll listen to reason. Alright! Primordial says, time for a revolution! It's time for a revolution! Hooray! Okay. After some time, the two of you are wandering in the forest garden. The thumping of the druidess's staff as she walks disappears in the overwhelming noise. A few hunters and other druids are on the verge of sight, looking out for beasts. She finally breaks the silence. Why do you want to speak of Steep House? Before you left the village, the suspicious looks of the guards convinced you the mayor already knows about your stroll. Srillik says, Thias and Hovlavin can get yeeted into the sun. Yes, they can! Okay, this is going to be important. We have to convince this druidess. Thias is both ambitious and cruel. I won't allow her to hurt other tribes. I don't think these druids care about the other tribes. Thias is unpredictable and manipulative. It's time for the druids to restore order to the village. That might be good. Howler's Dell doesn't need to grow anymore. We must stop Thias, for she will never be full. That might work. The druids care about not overstepping bounds. Yeah. Quirrell says she's expressed the third option to you in her own words before. I agree. Let's try that. She doesn't respond at first, instead staring at an apple rotting on a branch. She picks it gently, then touches the branch. Its leaves grow stronger and larger. That's so cool! Druidcraft! You're right, she says carefully. But now there are many like her. I may have my doubts, but I'm trusted to never seek control, only to give advice. You keep following the many beaten trails. The bright, sparse woods are nothing like those you've seen in other parts of the peninsula. I'm listening. You must admit that what happened to the village was terrible. She slackens her pace. I must. Okay, our options are... I know the druids played a role in the raid. The village fields are cursed to this day. Oh, of course, it was the druids! Whatever the reasons behind the attack, it was fueled by rage. I saw the tree painted with blood inside one of the buildings. It reeks of hatred. Yeah. You act as if your neighbors have acknowledged their deeds, but everyone treats it like a secret. The youngest generation isn't even aware of what happened. I'm going to start with the tree painted with blood, because I think that was a clue we discovered. There was no good cause behind any of it, she states matter-of-factly. But at the time, my neighbours felt otherwise. Threatened, desperate, betrayed and cornered. They lost their hamlet, merchants and the pact. I cannot justify what they've done. But they are nae monsters. You act as if your neighbours have acknowledged their deeds, but everyone treats it like a secret. The youngest generation isn't even aware of what happened. Quirrell says, I think this is going to be one of those things where you give all of them, and if the game thinks you've unlocked enough of them, you win the argument. Oh, probably. It was the elders from the cave last request before he left us. I'll spare you my wrath, he said, if you keep the children's hearts unstained until they reach a certain age. The forest speakers ought to help them find a lesson in your greed and cruelty. She stops in place, observing a red dotted mushroom. She crouches, digs it out with a knife, and puts it into a sack. When Thias made the decision that this certain age would never come, I didn't dare oppose her. Our neighbours trusted her. I know the druids played a role. The village feels a curse to this day. As the gathering, we didn't agree to the raid, but we agreed to protect our children, siblings, and cousins during their strike, with Numa and Evice. A long pause. After we breached the wall, Thias forced us to keep pushing. Some elders were hurt. Others caved in. Her voice cracks. Now you have an opportunity to fix your mistakes. Does your gathering regret helping her? No, I think that might be better. We do, she says softly. Some were broken by it. That's all I have to say about that. As you move forward, her staff rhythmically hits the ground. Do you really believe Thias can stay, that she won't cause further harm? She stops and observes the carcass of a hedgehog. Judging by the tracks, it was butchered by a badger. It may be true that, so far, you haven't added fuel to her plans. She crouches slightly, giving the shell a closer look. Ants, she says, and steps around it. My neighbours gained a lot from her past choices. My judgment means a lot to them. But she showed she will protect us, even if the price is too high. Alright, our options here are, we already talked about her. You know how impulsive she gets. There must be someone else who can lead your tribe. Aren't you worried about the future of your gathering? You grow in comfort, but from what I've seen, you are detached from the teachings you shared with me, or the ones I've heard from the altar warden. Alright, okay, I'm gonna start with this one. We've already talked about her. There must be someone else who can lead your tribe. Yet she's trusted for her wits and talents. Interrupted by a screeching bird, she seeks it among the leaves. The Thias you've met is shaped by many sorrows, but her laughter hasn't always been as dead as 'tis now. Many of us owe her our lives, and since our gathering promised to ne'er interfere with the choices of our neighbours, we took a step back, even when we realised her determination hides cruelty and stubbornness. Nae soul dares to oppose her now. How did she become a mayor in the first place? Her parents were adventurous. They stayed with us after a few grand journeys, bringing many treasures and sacks of dragon rings. Realising the illness of her weak shell, they wanted for her a life of comfort without bloodshed. While others dug in soil or trained with spears, they taught her to count and read, then sent her with a caravan to Hovlaven, used their ties to squeeze her into the guild. But the war disturbed her learning. She returned and said she would protect us from the Southerners, as long as we trusted her. And she did. With poison and betrayal, aye, but she saved all of us. Let's see. She was ready to protect you in desperate days, I get it. But now her decisions can only bring destruction. You need to find another way. Your inaction helped her plans bloom. It's time to do something about the responsibility that you carry. Oh, I'm not sure which of these we should do. What do you think? You need to find another way. But, like, acknowledging what she did before. Or do we just say, you didn't do enough? I don't know what these druids respond to. They don't really seem to do much of anything. Like, they hate being involved. And they deflect blame. Quirrell says, I'm going to metagame it a little and say the first one. The second one option already appeared once. The first option is new. Alright. You need to find another way. Her steps grow more confident. She nods in agreement. Thank you, Quirrell. Aren't you worried about the future of your gathering? You grow in comfort, but from what I've seen, you are detached from the teachings you shared with me, or the ones I've heard from the Altar Warden. We pay close attention to the teachings of our ancestors, and are no too proud to see that the seasons are near the same as they used to be. The animals come and go. Some pacts were broken and new tribes moved in. Our village is bound to change as well, and we would be blind to think our teachings will never have to grow. She stops and looks back in the direction of Howlers, though you see only tree trunks and shrubs. Sorry again for the blind ableism in this. 'Tis true that these changes occur too fast for my heart. Alright, let's change the topic. These are dice rolls. Do I risk a dice roll? Is it better to try one of these, before I go to what's your decision? What if it hurts my chances? I don't know how anything works in this game. I've been playing it for so long. I want to say. Quirrell says, I think it's better to try the one up being trustworthy. You've done enough for the place to have good odds. You know what? That's a good point. Yes, you know I'm trustworthy. I wouldn't try to sabotage your neighbours. She stops in place and turns toward you, holding her staff by her side. Her eyes are warm like a spring day, and she smiles gently. I trust you, and so do my neighbours. I can't be sure what you're saying is true, but I doubt you're lying. And I'm going to try the other dice roll as well, because I am pagan background. I also follow my ancestors. I'm trying to make things right. She stops you in place and, without asking, squeezes your wrists, then spits on your open palm and stares into your face. Her hand is weak, but not gentle. Her blue eyes remain her colour, but her frown is filled with disappointment. She releases her grasp and steps away. But a weakling. Rude! What's your decision? Will you speak with the others? You approach a giant oak, older than any other tree in the garden. It's surrounded by trails of shoes and paws, yet is oddly quiet, even though there are dozens of birds in its crown, spread among the branches like the faithful on temple pews. Elpis reaches for the long claw marks left on the bark. She strokes them gently, makes a fist, and steps away. The cuts are now thinner, sealed like a wound, forming nothing more than a dark scar. Suddenly, the clamour of creatures tears the sky. You look up, but the singing, cawing, and twittering seems to have no cause. Some birds raise their heads, others make tiny jumps, or spread their wings, but they uphold their choir for a good few minutes, long after you and your companion leave them behind. Let's go back. Thias will need give us time to organise. I need to speak to my gathering right away, but I will be the one to speak with my neighbours. Should we expect violence? Her lips form a line. From her, always. Oh gosh, we're doing it! On your way to the gate, you discuss the steps to come. Judging a mayor in power is no easy feat, not to mention seeking punishment for them or selecting their successor. The best you can hope for is that the locals will agree to hear your arguments and allow the druids to prepare a winter court. Most of what we have to discuss involves Steep House. You are not needed for any of it, Elpis concludes. Let's get to it. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Let's do another save. Another save somewhere. You? Okay, let's get to it. We did White Marshes and now we're doing... And then we can go to High... It's an exhausting hour, and in this time... Hang on, I need to do a little pass. It's an exhausting hour, and in this time you say only a few words. The amount of spite and reproach dwelling among the locals was hard to predict. It was not only the gathering who stood united behind Elpis. She knew exactly who should be asked to speak out. The souls held in melancholy and guilt for 10 years now, as well as those wounded during either the raid or the earlier or later events, many of which you'd never heard of before. Oh no, she did even more awful things! Oh. Sam says, it always makes me sad I can never fully pay attention to these streams because of work. It all seems so cool. I mean, these games are amazing. They're really, really good. I highly recommend giving it a go if you get time. Thias, accused of pointless violence and putting her pride above the well-being of her people, was calm at first, even eager to turn the entire case against you. But the trust you've earned and your familiarity with the raid's cruelties shielded you from her manipulations. Finally, it comes to a vote. For now, we see her as innocent, but suspicious, announces the selected guard. The court in Judgement will occur in the middle of winter. Until then, she remains our mayor in name only. The crowd disperses from the islet. If Thias could curse people with her gaze, you would only have a few breaths left. The others seem either puzzled or suspicious, whispering between themselves, pointing at you, at the druids, at the guards, at the inn. Still, in their voices you recognize more excitement than worry. I return to Shadowfax. I need to tell Egidia about all this. Oh, the judge. I've unlocked the judge. Because of me, Thias will face justice for the destruction of Steep House. I guess that was the good result. Your mount welcomes you with a hearty snort and you pat its neck. Whatever happens now, you leave this place different than you found it, for better or worse. But that's going to happen when I'm not around, because it's going to happen in winter. I want to go to Egidia. Should I speak to Elpis? Okay. At your return, she nods slightly. Her smile is as heartwarming as her shiny blue eyes. What's going to happen with the village after Thias' trial? They're an easy question. She may live with us as an honourable elder, or be sent into the woods with nothing more than the shirt on her back like a traitor, or be acknowledged as a fair leader with good answers to our doubts. She rests her head on her staff and gives you a tired look. Whatever happens, our neighbours will take peace from it, knowing no one is above judgment. Farewell. How much time do I have left? I'm going to go to Egidia. Wait, I should go to the Elder and then Egidia. Yeah. I want to tell Egidia about this happening. Come on, Forest Speaker. Nope. Alright, we're going to the fishing hamlet. The hamlet is peaceful, silent like a dead tree. You hear a thunderous roar coming from a sea monster, even though you see none on the horizon. Egidia is by the brook, fishing with a spear. When she sees you, she gets out of the water and wipes herself with a cloth. I return to Egidia. I can't say anything. Alright. But she'll return at some point. I think she'll become mayor. Oh, heck. I think we've done everything. I think it might be time to go to High Island. Oh, Story says I have not been paying much attention to the last half hour. Well, good news. Thias is going to face Judgement. We got the druids and her daughter to work against her. It's amazing. I have information about what time I should leave High Island, I think. Let's go have a look. Find the Roadwarden. Where's High Island? Here we go. The only way to get to the surface of the island is to reach it during nighttime. Okay. I need to take a strong source of light with me. I don't know if I have a strong source of light. Well, I have a really good crew. I have a lantern. I don't think I have any other light sources than this lantern. Like, I don't think any others were available. So that might just have to do. Sam says work is calling. Have fun and see you all soon, friends. Oh, bye, Sam. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, I just realized Devin followed. Thank you for the follow, Devin. Okay. I think my notifications might be a little mucked up, but I'll sort that out another time. I guess it's just time to go to High Island, right? I consider leaving for High Island. The boat awaits you at the coast. You need to take exactly 4 people with you, and so far 6 souls would be willing to join you. To leave with the crew, you need to start preparations in the morning. Before leaving, make sure you're well prepared to face the unknown. I would like to gather my crew. My soul. My 4 souls. Who do we think? I definitely want Aegidia. I definitely want Dalit. And I definitely want Thyrsis, a warlock. And we've got 2 very powerful hunters and fighters. The bandit we helped is sneaky. Quintus has been through a lot. He's really strong. He's definitely a survivor. He was the protector of the gate in the heart of the woods. But I could choose not to take him. I've already paid Svi, but I'm happy to just let that go. I thought I'd be able to take as many as I wanted. I had 6 people available. What do we think? Svi, Quintus, or the bandit? I trust Quintus the most. I feel like the bandit might be more helpful. And part of me just feels like I want Quintus to be able to finally rest. But, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm leaning. Coral says I don't have any good feelings about which way to go. That's fine. I'm gonna take the bandit and let Quintus rest. Yeah, the bandit owes his life to us, so. 4. I gather my crew. Selected 4 of 4. Story doesn't know either. Well, then it sounds like there's no obvious choices, and I'll just take who I've got. You and your companion shove the boat into the water. You take a deep breath of the chilling air, you adjust your clothes, but even their second layer is barely enough to keep you warm in the breeze. You stare into the night and listen to the roaring waves. The seagulls jump between the teeth-like rocks, seeking food and rest. You look around. Shadowfax is hidden inside Aegidia's cabin, but you doubt it's going to have a good sleep. You turn toward the others. If you've got any questions, now's a good moment to ask them. We've got a few rough hours ahead, but stick together and we're all going to make it. I clear my throat. We're heading into danger, but we'll return as heroes. No time for politeness. Let's get this done. It's a good time to ask questions. Is the water always so loud and angry? Dalit addresses no one in particular, even if gorgeous. Thyrsis wraps his creepers around his arms. Don't let me start. I've got all the questions. The bandit, as clean-shaven as ever, looks in the distance. His chin is worthy of a statue. Okay. You get in the boat and grab the planks not used to the swaying. We can do this. Talon says I was going to say bandit, but didn't get to my keyboard in time. I did take the bandit! Oh, thank you, Talon. That's reassuring. Okay. The first few minutes are the slowest. You push off the sharp rocks with the oars and even your arms, but the restless waves charge the boat again and again. Above the dark, salty waters, through the bright night, you can see the outline of High Island. You get used to the rhythm of rowing. Your allies are focused on the struggle at hand. Rowing will be harsh, better to take turns. The waves in the deeper waters get tall enough to splash your lips. That's when the harpies take their chance. The pack, a few monsters strong, lowers their flight, seeking an opportunity to strike. Their fluttering bat-like wings try to oppose the wind. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features, and talons that make you think of a parrot. It's too dark to tell the colour of their fur. If you can, shoot them. Time for my crossbow. I throw a fistful of blinding powder at them. I've got 2 archers with me. If you can, shoot them. Egidia's arrows cause havoc and keep you safe for another few breaths. The shells of the harpies hit the water only to get dragged away by the waves. Dalit releases only 1 quarrel before she reaches for an axe, but her powerful shot tears off a harpy's head. Oh my gosh. The dead shell sinks like a rock. I throw a fistful of blinding powder at them. Struggling to find your balance, you barely manage to send the panicking creature into the boat's floor. Thyrsis reaches for the beast with his creepers and throws it into the sea. The remaining members of the pack take no more chances. They spread in various directions, seeking shelter among the tusk-like rocks. Great job, everyone. After rowing for an hour or so, you leave the coastal rocks behind. The fierce waterfall ahead won't be too difficult to reach, but if it's not the spot that hides the old harbour, the wasted effort and cold winds will surely exhaust you before you find it. You look north. There's another waterfall there, much gentler one. Dalit looks at you but says nothing. She seems to be seasick. Hang on, one of these waterfalls is the one we're looking for. None of this says what I thought I learned about the waterfall. What time is it? Nighttime. We'll go to the gentler waterfall. The northern waterfall. 15 long minutes go by and the roar of the waterfall devours all other sounds. Here, the wall of the island isn't as flat as it seemed to be from afar, and the tide lets you reach a few high ledges, flat and wide enough for a boat. This is what we were looking for. Even though it's dark, you recognize some old wooden beams, as well as a few copper rods, remains of an old structure. There's another boat, or rather a small chunk of it, tied to a post just a few steps away from you. Asterion! What if he's alive? I really want him to be alive. All of you get out and scrape the hull against the ash-coloured rocks. Let's prepare the ropes. The cave behind the waterfall is maybe 30 feet above you, but getting to it will take some effort. The ancient stairs and handrails have mostly fallen apart, and the slippery rocks are nothing less than a trap. Thyrsis, put these creepers to use. Sure. He stretches them out, not only easily grasping the nearest roots and broken stairs, but also supporting your back as you try to move. The bone hook will make this much easier. Yep. You give it a shot. Not only does the hook allow you to climb up the rope, it also helps you test the durability of the bronze rails and sticking out roots of plants. You reach the higher spots of the wall quickly, followed by the rest of the group. We have 5 strong souls here. Let's move slowly, helping each other at every step. Having someone always waiting in the back to help the others climb up may slow you down, but your progress is indisputable, and you have enough time to secure a safe way back. I've got no more tricks, time to climb. Oh, I lost some hunger. With the bright night on your side, you look for convenient ledges, but one of the steps betrays you. You slide off, painfully scratching your knee against the wall. You take a deep breath and carry on, your limbs growing quite tired, but you manage to reach the top. You pull yourself up into the dark mouth of the cave, the remains of the original stream. I light up a torch and examine the area. This is so exciting! The stream roars above you. You light up a torch. The long, dark tunnel is moist and full of bats, which, surprised by your presence, flee into the deeper corridors. Finally off the damn boat! Dalet's face regains its colour slowly. Her soaked hair is now maybe 1/8 of its regular volume. The remains of the harbour aren't any more dignified than a pillaged hamlet. The mould and insects spared only a few scraps of wood, while the scavengers scraped clean any pieces of steel and copper. You run your eyes over the spread stone tools and the scratches left by dragged carts and hulls. Ahead is a brick wall with no door or hinges. Your crew prepares a few torches, enough to last maybe half an hour. I prepare my equipment and get ready to reach the surface. Talon says, "Adventure! Yes, adventure!" For a few more minutes, you walk by the remnants of the past dwellers, the scraps of fabric, stone bowls, a spot with broken chairs and a table. You walk past a few anxious bats and salamanders, and plenty of spots from which water drips into the tunnel. Sooner or later, the stream will break through one of the countless cracks and reclaim its old bed. You freeze when your light touches the black and creamy fur of the beast. Not sure if you should run, you give the monster a chance to turn its boulder-like head, capped with a single horn that's the size of an adult human. The creature may be as large and heavy as a house, but its eyes open one at a time, slowly, as if they haven't decided yet if you're really here. I look left and right. Oh gosh. The creature almost fills up the width of the tunnel. Your crew looks paralyzed, with eyes wide open. You lower your voice to a whisper. Creature. That's an Aegidia question. Thoughts, Aegidia? Her lips barely move. Do me touch it. Thyrsis, suggestions? The few amulets he has with him rattle as he leans toward you. I've no poisons for unicorns. Is it a unicorn? Is it a unicorn, really? What would you do, Dalet? She scoffs. Brought any giants with you, or living dragons? Alright, I look at the bandit. Well, I can walk around it, but can you? Oh, I'll handle it. It blinks, observing your torch. It's not mean. Approaching! Let's approach the evil unicorn, everyone. Friendly. I raise my open palms. Nice cave you've got here. I'll just walk by you, alright? I think maybe friendly isn't the option this time. Primordial Nightmare says big unicorn? Apparently. Playful. I reach toward its horn. Who's a sleepy nightmare monster? No. Distanced. I walk around it. Good. Intimidating. I step away slowly, raise the dragon horn to my lips, and blow as loudly as I can. Oh, we could scare it. We could scare it. Story said, did the game declare the unicorn as evil per se? It described it as a monster, but it hasn't attacked us yet. But I doubt it's cuddly, because nothing in this island, in this world is cuddly. Vulnerable. I reach toward its horn. Listen, I really need to get on the other side. Why am I reaching for its horn? Quirrell says, I think the right choice is saving first. Thank you, Quirrell. Rowan says, I like Who's a Sleepy Nightmare Monster myself. I don't think I can do it. I think I'll die. I want to be friends with it. I just saved. What if I'm friendly and we see what happens and I'll reload if it's terrible? Nice cave you got here. I'll just walk by you, alright? You talk for a bit longer until the unicorn lowers its head and lets out a loud snort, hitting you with the air from its nostrils. You take a step closer, then walk around the creature's bear-worthy fur. Before you get behind its rear, you have to put on your boot on a rock to step over the outstretched leg. The beast returns to sleep while your allies look at you as if you're crazy, but obediently follow your command. We friendlied it! We did it! We did it! Friendly! It's never the wrong option! Hooray! Yay! Friendicorns, it's Primordial Nightmare. Absolutely. Story, you're totally right. Friendly was right. It's always right. It's never wrong. Always be friendly. Oh, I lead them toward the exit. Yes! Only a few boulders separate you from the deep woods. The song of the sea and the hum of the stream are overshadowed by the screeches of beasts and their prey. While there are some rusty remains of an old cart and the gentle slope was carved by tools, it leads you toward a wall of shrubs and creepers. You get on top of a large rock. There are no roads in sight, but you spot a humble trail made by hooves and paws. The worried looks of your crew are as lost as you are. I'm not doing this right now. We're gonna save and exit because it is past. This is so great. This is going wonderfully. This is the best time we've had yet. I can't believe we dealt with Thias. I can't believe we befriended a unicorn in a cave. Times are really good right now in Roadwarden. Friendly is never the wrong option. Confirmed. Hooray! Oh. Thank you all so much for being here. Wow. Story says these last 15 minutes, amazing. Yeah, absolutely. What a time. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much. I've loved your company and your advice and your jokes. It's been great. I can't wait for next week. We're going to find Asterion. I fully believe he's alive. I just believe more and more and more. Yeah. Obviously, I'll be back on Friday to play more Outer Wilds as well. But hopefully you have a lovely rest of the week. And goodbye, everyone.